Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our live session today. My name is Larissa. I'm an event planner at Reactor, joining you from Brazil. Before we start, I have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. This session is being recorded and will be available to view on demand here on the Reactor YouTube channel within 48 hours. Keep an eye on the chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for questions for our presenter to answer. I'll now turn it over to our hosts and speakers for today. So let's welcome here Shannon and Valerie.
Hey,
Hi, Valerie.
I'm so happy that we are here today for this Meet the Finalists session, the Power BI Dataviz World Championship Meet the Finalists. This is awesome, isn't it?
It's so great. I cannot wait to see what they've built.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. Let's do a short introduction about us, and then we go right into the part where we give them the stage.
All
So,
right, so
who
I'll
are
jump
you?
in. Yes, so it's really nice to see you all again. My name is Shannon Lindsay, and I have the pleasure of working on the Fabric community team. So it is a big part of my job to work on contests and all of the fun things involving the community. And I'm so lucky that I get a chance to work with people like Valerie.
Thank you so much. I love doing the session. I'm Valerie. I'm from the Netherlands, a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, and I'm a Power BI consultant. I love Power BI. I love creating reports, really good-looking reports. And I have a lot of videos also. So if you're interested into that, have a look at my YouTube channel. But enough about me. Let's meet our moderators because this is a live session. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and they will try to answer them. And who are they? Stephanie Pruno, the amazing Stephanie Pruno, and Fabric Pam. Both are incredible people and they are in the chat. So ask them anything. And maybe we even have some time to answer the questions live somewhere in the session. But you can ask like all your questions. They're there for you. Just amazing. What are we going to cover today? We give you like a short introduction of what this Power BI Dataviz World Championship is. And the most important part, I think, is you're going to meet the finalists. They are going to show you their work. They will explain why they did what they did, and maybe you get some inspiration there. And it's so nice to see them here. And I can't wait for that. And again, this session is live and interactive. So just try it. Like, why did you join the session in the first place? Write it in the comments. We are very curious about these kind of things. So before we give the stage to the finalists, I think it's important to tell or to explain why it's so good to join these contests. Because of course you can win like really nice swag and all these things, but it's also such a huge learning opportunity. You all work on the same project and you share it with each other. So you can share with other people what you created, but you also see what they created. And this is such a huge inspiration, at least for me. Shannon, probably for you the same, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, yes. Every time I see the submissions roll in, the first thing I think is, oh my gosh, I did not know you could do that with Power BI. And then I get inspired for something else that I'm working on. And, you know, one thing I want to brag on Valerie for just a moment. She is a leader in our community. She gives tutorials and does all sorts of, helps us with Dataviz. And she's also been competing and joining these contests along with us. So we can have entries for everyone from people who are just getting started to industry experts and everyone in between. So Valerie's submissions are in the gallery. So I encourage you all to check them out.
I think it's so nice that everyone can compete. Like, you don't need to be the expert. Everyone can just try it and show what they came up with. And that's so nice. And we are very curious if you have submitted something in the past, because we had some rounds. So type it in the chat. Has anyone submitted? And it's good to hear about these things. And you already mentioned like this gallery in the Fabric community. That's, for me, that's such a huge inspiration. Like, sometimes I think, oh, I want to try something new, but I don't know yet what. Then I go to the community and I have a look what other people are doing. And that inspires me. So we all learn from each other, and that's so important. And something extra nice is, for some of these contests, you can actually compete live on stage. And that's what's happening with our finalists. They will compete in Atlanta. And I still think that's so amazing. Like, I'm very happy that they do that and not me, because it's very scary, I think. So that's so brave and so nice to get on a stage and actually compete with each other. That's great. So if you still think, should I join next time? Yes, try it. And even if you don't have a lot of time, try it. Do something, because something is always better than nothing, and you can always learn something.
I couldn't agree with that more. All right. So thank you so much, Valerie, for talking us through why we should participate in these things. We know that everyone who is on the live stream is interested in some way in either participating or learning from these finalists or supporting these finalists. So thanks to you all for being here. Now we're just going to talk you through what is this actual event, the Power BI Dataviz World Championships. So this is a new-ish event that we've been running as the Fabric community team. It is a global data visualization contest open to everyone. We hold the contest twice a year, and we align it to the Fabric Community Conference, which we'll talk about here as FabCon. So these finalists in front of you today, they are going to be competing live on stage at FabCon in Atlanta in exactly 2 weeks' time. So today is a nice prep for them, and I can't wait to see you all support them in the chat. So the contest itself consists of qualifying rounds. The people who win those qualifying rounds then are entered into the in-person finale. You will see their reports today. Each participant submitted a report that includes 5 report pages or less. The idea is to keep the lift light and to let creativity really flourish. And they are judged by a panel of experts on how insightful is the report? Are the visuals effective? Is the report creative and innovative? And then most importantly, is the report accessible? Meaning, can people who are using assistive technology navigate through the report and understand what the data is saying? So the reports we are about to see from the finalists met all of these criteria, and I do believe in the prelims we had some perfect scores. So you all will see that today. So these finalists, if you want to jump to the next slide for me, Valerie, are going to be joining the 2 existing Power BI data visualization world champs. These are the premier data visualization or report designers for Power BI, the 2 premier people in the world. Drum roll, please, if you haven't been involved. And these are 2 of our friends. Jonathan Sandman, he competed at our first contest last year in Las Vegas in March of 2025. And also we have our friend, Paulo Grijo. And Paulo was our world champion in September in Vienna. Something that is really cool about this contest that I love is that we really do try to make this a global contest. So you can see Jonathan, our first world champion, he is based in the US. And Paulo, our second world champion, is Brazilian. As we introduce our finalists today, you will see which countries they are all based in, but this contest is truly global. I'd love to know in the chat, and Valerie, I'd love to hear from you. Have you seen either of these reports from either Jonathan or Paulo?
I have, because I'm always very curious. Like also all the rounds of the championship, I always have a peek, like what are people doing and what are they creating? And they're all so creative. It's sometimes I didn't even know that what they did was possible in Power BI.
Yes, me too. Me too. So the reports you all are going to see today are to compete for the title, to join the ranks of Jonathan and Paulo. We are going to have our third Dataviz World Champ. So now let's go ahead and meet our finalists. All right, so what we're going to do is introduce each finalist one by one, and then I'm going to ask you just a few questions so that the audience can get to know you. So why don't we start with Gus? Gus, do you want to come on the screen and tell us a little bit about yourself? I'd love to know your name, your role, where you're based, and one phrase that describes your signature style.
Thanks, Shannon. Hi, everyone. My name is Gustavo Bavia, but you can call me Gus. I am Brazilian, and I've been living in Sydney, Australia for almost 4 years. I work as a front-end analytics engineer, building dashboards and reports using Power BI across different industries. First of all, it's a real pleasure to be here today. If I had to describe my signature style in one phrase, I would say removing anything that increases cognitive load. And yeah, being selected as a finalist by Microsoft already feels like a huge achievement. And it's also an honor to be sharing this space with so many talented professionals in the data visualization community.
Thank you so much, Gus. We are so glad you're here. And can you just tell us in one quick sentence, how did you find your way into working as an analytics engineer? How did you find your way into this Dataviz business?
Yes, not a problem. Yeah, actually, I started building dashboards back in 2013, mostly in Excel, working for a graphic industry company in Brazil. And then I asked a former Excel professor how I could take my dashboards to the next level. And then he suggested I explore Power BI. Then I moved to Power BI, which opened the door to a completely different level of dashboard design and data visualization.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I love that everyone's path here is so unique. All right, Gus, so nice to meet you. Let's go ahead and move over to Mihal. I will ask you the same questions. Mihal, can you introduce yourself? Tell us where you're based and one phrase that describes your signature style.
Hi, I'm Mihal. I'm Mihal Jezik. I'm based in Poland. And my signature style, it's hard to say, but I would say if I were to put it in one word, I would say it's unconventional. Because I like to mix styles, and sometimes I even have to fight with myself what I like the most. And in the end, I have to just choose something that I like, that is also has this wow effect. And yeah, I think this sums it pretty well. Unconventional.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I got to Dataviz. Actually, this journey was, also quite unconventional, let's say, because I worked all over the world, like in Spain, in Canary Islands, because I was a ship inspector. I was checking ships if they, meet all the requirements. So it's quite detailed work. Then I got into data analysis on wind turbines. And this is actually where I started building dashboards, because I had access to so much data and I saw the potential in it, and people didn't use it. And I wanted to show them that they can see more and predict more things. So basically, I got interested in Power BI because it was a tool that I had available in my company. And like that, I started working with it. And then I found a job as a junior BI developer at my current company. And this is where I actually grew up a lot. So since then, I was just designing Power BIs, and I learn a lot every day, especially because of the contests like that, because I follow a lot of people on LinkedIn, and also I was looking for previous contests, and there's so many inspirations out there, and sometimes it just blows my mind what you can do. But I always say to myself that I want to do it too, so I'm just looking how to do it. I'm exploring all the possibilities, and I try to get better at what I'm doing.
That's really inspirational. And that is a great segue, because speaking of looking for contests on LinkedIn, we are now going to jump over to our next competitor, Roxandra. And I believe, Roxandra, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you mentioned that you heard about this contest. Was it because Gus posted about it on LinkedIn? Is that how you heard about it?
Yeah. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Valerie. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was because of Gus. His post on LinkedIn regarding the first round, if I'm not mistaken, somehow popped up on my LinkedIn feed. I don't think I was following Gus. Most probably somebody liked or commented on his post, and that's how I've discovered the championship. It was actually during the very last day of the very last day of the first round, so it was a bit too late for me to jump in and participate. But I was happy that there was going to be a second round, so that's when I jumped in.
That's when you jumped in, and that's when you won.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, Roxandra, tell us a little bit more about yourself. Where are you based, and what's your role, and what's something that describes your signature style?
Yeah, I'm from Romania, and I'm based in Romania, and I've been a Power BI developer for something like 6-7 years. As for my signature style, I always try to design or create while having the audience in mind. Simply, what do they want? What do they need? How are they going to use the report? What business requirements is it going to meet? Within this line. And about how I came to be a Power BI developer, it was actually by chance, to be honest. I did my master's in machine learning, so kind of pretty close to the area of data. But then my very first job happened to be within Power BI. I liked it. I came to love it, and I simply stayed within, and I grew and I evolved. And 6-7 years later, here we are.
Fantastic. 6-7 years later, you're on the world stage where you belong.
That's fantastic.
All right, and let's go to last but are certainly not least competitor. Let's bring Santana Lakshmi onto the stage. Lakshmi may be a familiar face for many of you. Lakshmi was a finalist in round 1, the inaugural Power BI Dataviz World Championship. So welcome back, Lakshmi. So glad you're here. Can you introduce yourself? Let us know where you're based and tell us about your signature style.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I am back. My name is Lakshmi, and I was born and brought up in India, but US has been home for the past 6 years. And currently, I am based out of Atlanta, so I'm going to compete in my home ground. Really proud about that. Also, quick fact about me: so I was one of the finalists in the very first World Championships, and I had to participate 4 times to become a finalist, and that's what happened this time too. So just a quick takeaway for everyone is consistency and hard work really takes you very far. So I think that never give up attitude is why I am going to compete with amazing Power BI experts. And coming to my style, I would say minimalism and storytelling. I would say this is my style of designing reports. You see my reports, you'll hardly see 3 to 4 colors. You would see little icons, and I pretty much do that in all the reports that I make. So I think it's time to switch it up for the finals. So yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Oh, I can't wait to see what you build. Can you tell us, Lakshmi, a little bit about your journey? How did you find your way into Dataviz?
Oh, yes, that's a very funny story. So I graduated in electronics and communication, got placed into a consulting company where they just threw me into data analytics. And then I was using a very different in-house visualization tool. And I heard about Power BI. People were like, oh, it's very easy. You just have to drag, drop, click, clack, and then everything is going to be beautiful. And then that encouraged me to try Power BI. When I kept trying Power BI, building dashboards and reports, I discovered something new every day. And that's what kept me interested in the tool. And I've been working with Power BI for the past 6 years now, and Power BI has come a long way.
It really has.
Yes.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Nice to see you back here.
Yeah.
All righty. So we have one quick slide we want to show you all where you can find the winners' reports. You can also find links to the winners' LinkedIn, so you can be sure to follow them. That's where we do a lot of sharing about all of these contests that come up, and also some of their websites and blogs. Lakshmi mentioned in her introduction that she competed all 4 rounds in both contests. And she actually wrote a really nice blog post about how to compete in these contests, keep your day job, maintain your sanity, plan things out well. So I really recommend that you all take a look at her Medium blog post. I know we've got Gus's website on there as well, and everyone's LinkedIn. So please take a look there. And now I'm going to pass it back over to Valerie, and let's talk to the finalists and go through their reports.
Yes, let's do that, because these reports, they are amazing. I will open first the one from Gustavo. And as I open it, let's load it again. Because this report, it truly amazed me when I opened it the first time. And
I had this same issue when I was loading it, so it's not just you.
It's loading, and isn't this amazing? Like, this is the starting page. And probably, I think it's best, I can click through it, but if Gustavo can join and tell me, like, what page should I start? Because I clicked on everything in that report, and everything amazes me. But
I'm glad you like it.
So where should we start?
We can start from the executive summary. I can actually run you about my design approach first.
Yeah.
What do you think? Well, let's talk about my design approach first. When I started the dashboard, the first thing I asked was a simple question. How is Briarport performing compared to the other cities? And how I can represent it simple and quickly. So that question guides the entire design, but I also apply the same design concept I've been using in a few projects recently. So instead of trying to show everything at once, I focus on helping users understand the situation quickly. I have designed the layout with fewer visuals per page and introduce additional context direct into each visual style, each visual dynamic subtitles. This also allows users not only to read the charts, but to understand the story behind the visual output. So you can see we have small subtitles with additional context. The goal was actually to keep the layout clean and make it very clear where people should look first. Also, to help with accessibility, to help with adoption, I also include a small tutorial guide that explains what the user is looking at, how to use the report, and the kind of insights they can expect from the visuals. So even someone just opening the dashboard for the first time, they can quickly understand how to navigate and interpret the informations. Sometimes if you don't have it clear, maybe your users are not going back to your report. So this actually increase adoption as well and make your users clear on how to understand the report and the data itself. Let's do you have any questions?
I have actually a question. Are these buttons, or is this a button slicer?
Yeah, button slicer.
A button slicer.
Yeah,
Because
I actually use a button slicer, and then I use some LLM to create different images. Like these images is autoral images, and then I brought it just to combine with my navy blue theme and make it a bit beautiful, let's say.
it fits very well with the whole design, like the navigation pane and the pictures and the color choices you have made. It all feels like one. I'm really amazed.
I'm glad you like. Well, if I can mention other point, behind the scenes, I use bookmarks to switch the analytical view without adding more visuals. As I mentioned before, I prefer to use fewer visuals on each page so users can know where to look first. And then you can actually navigate and change context without going out of the page. So it makes easy for you to navigate and understand each point at once instead of trying to understand like 200 views on the same page, where to look first, you know. So that was mainly my approach at first. And yeah, pretty much it.
That's nice and clean. I love it. We have a question from the audience, and I believe this question is coming from another one of our World Champs finalists from last time. And she is asking the question, for the categories in the image slicer, is there a reason you selected 4 categories instead of 5?
No, actually, there is no reason at that time. I guess I brought some specific metrics where I saw that was more useful for the first page. As I mentioned, the first page actually just bring the most key metrics, and then if you navigate to the performance page, you'll be able to see the entire metric. So from my analysis, from my perspective, I choose that first 4 metrics at first, because I judge it most the key insights, and then I brought all the metrics together on this page as you are seeing now. So you can see there is a different perspective. From the executive summary, we are only looking at the most key metrics. As you can see, Valerie, if you can just come back to the previous page, we have also on the main cards, 2 of them. You can see housing affordability, strongest dimension and weakest dimensions. I actually, instead of bring all the measures, I create a dynamic card where I can bring the most important metrics. So I am not just popping everything there. It's just like, hey, which metrics do I want to read first, and do I need to take actions instead of show and display everything?
A lot of nice editing. Sorry.
I think it's such a smart approach. Instead of showing everything, focusing on the most important information for the audience. It's great. And you made it dynamic. So if the data would change, the cards would also change.
The dimension will be changed based on the gap. So the metric actually evaluate all the metrics and bring the output like, hey, this metric has the biggest gap, or this metric has the lowest gap. And then I brought that metrics inside. So maybe on real world, you might have like 100 metrics and you won't be able to place everything on a single page. So maybe you might need to use some dynamism to bring the key insights on the like executive summary. We also have everything on the other page, but for this page specifically, I used and I brought some key and highlighting metrics.
Really nice. And one final question for you, Gus, and anyone can answer this once you're up. Do you have any favorite resources for HTML that you'd like to share with us?
Resources itself, I don't have. Actually, I've been using some LLM stuff to build. I actually using natural language, I just type what I like. Or I also use some tools on the market just to grab, for example, Pinterest. I find some interesting visuals and then just screenshot that visual I like, and I brought it to some LLM tool to generate my like a new image, and then I iterate back on top of that image to tweak and make that align with my needs. And then later I build the HTML code, just the HTML and CSS piece. And then later when developing, I combine it with my DEX measures. I relate to my original columns and fields from my data model, and I can make it happen.
Wow, I'm blown away.
Pretty much it.
Thank you so much for explaining a little bit about your report. There are, of course, a lot more pages, and I can really encourage everyone, go to the link that we shared, have a look at it, because this report, it's amazing. I really love it. You created something really, really amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I'm glad you like.
Should we go to our next?
Yes, let's take a look at Mihal's. I know a lot of us in the chat, I can see people's brains exploding, and just buckle up because we've got 3 more.
Yeah. It's getting better and better.
Wow.
It's like amazing.
Thank
you. Your report, when I opened it, like all the reports, I'm very much amazed with how interactive they are, how clean they look. It's this really user-centered approach. How much you put so much care into the design part also, not just the data and the data analysis, but also making it look so good.
Well, thank you. I lost, it was a very hard time for me designing this, because I have this thing that I always want to make everything, like so good that I waste a lot of time. And I actually started a little bit late because I discovered this this contest actually on the day it started, and then I downloaded the data set and I looked at it, and it was like, wow, what could I show there? So like this is my disadvantage. I want to think of everything at once, like what's the design going to be, but then I don't know what I want to show, so I don't know what the design is going to be, and I was like just fighting with myself. But in the end, I'm going to admit I was looking at other contestants. I also saw Gus' report, and I really liked it. And we actually talked about this report in my job, because I like the design, because I used something similar, but I actually loved the tooltips and also the the smart guide through the report, where you click and it tells you what to do. So big shout out to Gus for doing that, because it takes a lot of work. And then when I was focusing on my report, I was trying, as you can see, unconventional approach, because when I was reading the requirements, there was that I have to tell a data story. And actually, telling us, I didn't want to show some statistical data, because actually most of the users, actually, they ask you to show them some data, and it's basically, statistics, just show something on the chart. And I wanted to tell a story, actually. So I went with the approach of a tabloid, let's say, but I wanted to make it interactive, because I think that's the beauty of Power BI, that you can make look something like an article, let's say, but it's all interactive, so we can just go through this. Yeah, and so we can go and explore it.
And to jump in, from the panel of the judging, from the perspective of the judging panel, we really picked up on the fact that you were making it look like a tabloid. And traditionally, I often would think, you probably shouldn't use more than 1 to 2 fonts on any page, but the way that you did this so carefully, we knew exactly what you were going for. It was super effective.
Yeah, thank you. I was thinking so much about it, because my first approach was to go with something like the menu bar on the left or on the top, and just do something structured. But then this data set was not so simple, because it was 120 years of data, and there was a lot of story to tell. So I just said, let's go with it. Maybe nobody will notice it, but at least I wanted to do something like, I'm not going to restrict myself. I'm just going to go with it. So, there are no boundaries there. So I just went with it, but still I was trying to make it look nice. Like you are not going to get tired of reading it. So basically, in the end, what I wanted to achieve here was to tell a story. That's why we have 3 separate pages, like the long race to equality. Then we have the biology of a champion and the New World Order, because there is actually a lot of things in this data set that were so interesting to me, but I had to discover them. Because if you just put it on the chart, okay, you can see some trends, but it just tells you, okay, it's growing. But actually, if we go back, for example, to the race of equality, it's so nice that we can see here the breakthrough, for example, here in the after 1980, where there was a regulation that every sport has to have it has to be for males and females. Yeah, exactly. I love that you clicked it. I was also thinking about how to do it, because I wanted to compare it, like the right side, the Tokyo is just the current state. And on the left side, there you can click on it and see how it changed in the percentage. And also there is some short description of it. And also another challenge, it was, it had to be accessible. So all the texts there, they are also translated for accessibility. So, interacting with this report, it also changes the accessibility texts, so everybody gets the full experience.
Oh, that's so important and so good that you took that into account, that you made it really accessible, especially because there's text that you made sure that everyone can experience that.
Yes, because the story is really nice, as you can see, especially if you'd go to the winter. I think there's going to be Beijing there, so it's from 2022, and we can see that those percentages are growing and growing. And also, if you go to
I don't know if
Oh.
it's me, but I can't hear you anymore.
Maybe your mic shut off. You've had no shortage of tech challenges today. Sorry about that. We can. It's very quiet, though.
I'm going to make it a little bit closer if it's better.
I think, unfortunately, the audio is not that great, but this was such an awesome introduction to your report.
Yes.
We encourage people to go ahead and look through it. Mihal, any final words that you want to say before we jump over to Roxandra?
Yeah, that I encourage everyone to take part in this contest because it was very hard, but it made me grow a lot and see other people's work and just work on myself. I'm so glad that I did it because, as you can see, you can achieve a lot if you want to. So, and yeah, one of the maybe I can say one more thing about the report. What I wanted to show here exactly, where I actually was amazed. We can see actually how medicine is going better because if you see the right chart, so the light purple are the teenagers and the darker purple are the people in 20 to 29 years old. And you can see how in the beginning, teenagers were most medalists were teenagers, but then it shifted to 20, 29 years. So actually you get more experience, and with all of our medicine, your body is still, you're like 100%, but you get the experience. So you move the bar up. So that's what I found amazing in this data.
It's awesome. I really like how interactive your report is, like that you click on things and that you get all the different explanations and stories. And I'm amazed. But I'm amazed at all these submissions. I'm just like, this is so great. Like, it inspires me a lot. I already have so many ideas for new reports to create because I see what you did and what all the other panelists did. And it's awesome.
I'm so glad to hear it because always when I think about myself, I think
Oh, Mihal, unfortunately, we can't really hear you much. But feel free to drop what you have to wrap up in the chat, and let's jump over to our next report.
Let's go to this report. Roxandra, this one is a little bit different than the other reports, and I love it because the format is very different.
Yeah, I've actually decided to go with the Canvas style, again with the audience in mind. I think for non-technical people or people who don't really use Power BI on a daily basis or weekly basis, it's a bit easier to just scroll up and down rather than clicking on buttons and navigating from page to page. Not that I don't love Power BI reports that have an app feel. I do love them and I use them all the time in my line of work. But strictly for this time, I've decided to go with the Canvas style again because I feel it's a bit easier for the audience to simply navigate through the report and consume the information without having to worry, where do I click now? Where do I go now? How do I close this?
Yeah. It happens a lot, doesn't it? That especially if people are new to Power BI, they get a little bit lost in a report. So this report is very user-friendly. Like they can scroll down and they get the information they need. They don't get lost. There are no surprises. So that's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So I see at the top you can filter, and then you basically tell a story, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. That was actually my main focus, but also my main challenge, honestly. That's because I work within the IT services industry, so I'm very much used to ticketing data, operational data, financial data, and so on. But I've never worked with climate change data, so I struggled a bit to find an angle here. I did some exploratory analysis, of course, looked through the data, but still I wasn't sure how to group it all together into something meaningful, rather than just throwing visuals onto the canvas, onto the page. So what I did, I actually Googled climate change reports to see how researchers approach the topic, and I actually noticed one common pattern. Most of them follow a cause and effect process, so to speak, meaning that CO2 emissions rise into the atmosphere, temperatures increase, and then in turn ice is melting, water is expanding, and then the sea level is growing. That's kind of the most common thing I've seen so far in the climate change reports. So I've decided to structure my report around this angle as well. Start with CO2 data, then move on to temperatures, and lastly to sea level changes. Now, the other challenge here was linking these three parts together and making a logical jump from one section to the next. I couldn't correlate CO2 data to temperatures and sea level in the same way that researchers do. Uh, so, and that's because we were given CO2 per capita values, so not total impact. This doesn't equal total emissions or total impact. So I had to adjust the angle here a little bit to kind of to still deliver a story that makes sense. I do admit, even today, it still feels a bit disconnected to me, the way I jump from CO2 to temperature and sea level. But at the end of the day, we have to do good with the data we're given. Um, so instead of following this cause and effect process, I've decided instead to show, what's the current state, what are the CO2 emissions at country and continent level, how we got here, how emissions have changed over time. That's part 2 of the report. And then lastly, what's the part 3, what's the global impact, again, with a special focus on not implying correlation or causation between CO2 per capita and temperature and sea level. So
I really
that
like
was
how you.
yeah, please.
So I really like how you created these chapters, and you also made it visually very clear that you have like 3 parts with these borders and the buttons. It's very easy to understand. Like if you see this report for the first time, you get it, and that's such a great approach. Like I love it.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad it worked out because this is exactly what I was aiming for in the beginning.
And I will just make one additional call out here. Not only is it visually super organized, but you also managed to do the same with your alternative text. The way you walked people through each section was outstanding. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen that before. So I can say I learned a lot from you in that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and it was actually the first time I designed for accessibility. So I had to do a lot of Googling in order to get here, but I'm glad it paid off.
You nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great report. I have one question. Is
Yeah,
this
sure.
a normal line chart?
Yeah, it is. I've just used the vertical bars to kind of split the period. I think with the periods, it makes it a bit easier to follow the years because we do have almost 200 years in in this line chart, so it's a bit easier visually speaking for the user to see the split across time. But yeah, it is a regular line chart.
Yeah. Sometimes these small changes can make such a huge difference. Adding these splits there, it makes so much sense. It looks so professional. It's like this could be right out of a research paper. So good job, great job on this.
Thank you.
Should we jump to the next finalist, our last finalist. Thank you
Yes.
so much for showing and explaining this report. Let's go to the next.
Our
Lakshmi.
last chance for our minds to be blown on this call.
Yeah. Your report, it's so intuitive. So your style is great. Where should we start?
Yes. So I'm so nervous that I have to talk after 3 amazing reports, but let's just get started. So the first page is just a simple landing page, and I would say this is one of my styles. So all the reports that I create has a landing page. The reason I do that is it gives like a clear information about what the report is going to be about. So here it's very clear that the report is going to give like a quick at a glance view of Briarport. And then I picked 4 important KPIs, I would say metrics. So that's in there too. Now, all of these are buttons. So obviously, like if you could press on transit score, it's going to take you to a new page, which is just going to be about transit score. And I would like to highlight like minute details that I've added. Like there's above transit score, you see how I've mentioned higher is better. So if there's a person who's looking at the report has no idea about transit score, he or she can understand that, okay, the values are supposed to be high. And then I have like a small section where I've also mentioned about the metric. So quick information about the metric for anyone who's new to this. So that's a quick 2 to 3 things that I really wanted to add. And then very, very basic, I would say, KPIs. So the goal of my report was not to show where Briarport stands. I want to show how the performance evolved over time and how it compares with the other cities. So that's what the line chart is about. And then something I'm really proud about is, I would say, the highlight of my report is the scenario analysis section in the bottom. So I wanted to give like an interactive feature to the report where you could simulate the changes in metric values. So Valerie, if you could click on to the what if analysis. Perfect. So here, could you change the value 13 to 0? Yeah, just if you, yeah. So when it is at 0, it kind of tells you where Briarport stands right now. Yeah. So this is the rank currently. And then if you could move the slider till the end, maybe you would see that it kind of simulates and tells you that if you increase the points by 20, you can get Briarport to rank 2. So this is something that I wanted to show, like how you could shift the Briarport's rank. Now you know that you have to increase 20 points. Now my next action was, how do we do that? So if you could close this and go back to the policy suggestions section. So once you click on policy suggestions, like I've mentioned, 3 to 4 policies, obviously, like took help from AI, quick policy suggestions which could help you reach that particular goal. So that was pretty much about the scenario analysis section. You can close this, Valerie. And then quick highlight, I would like to also mention the peer comparison section on the right. So I have Briarport versus peer cities. Now, in the brief that we were given, we had 3 to 4 personas. So there are 3 to 4 type of people looking at the report. So I think one of them was city planners, and then there were like the local government. I'm not sure. So they were different personas. And I wanted to create different visuals for different personas. So if you could click on rank trends, you would see like a rank-wise analysis. And since I mentioned my style is minimalistic, you see how there are only 2 to 3 colors in the entire report, right? That's it. So everything else is grayed out. Briarport is highlighted. Now, people who want to do like a deeper comparison, they can go on to the detailed overview. So if you could click on the detailed overview, you get a table. So people who don't want visuals, want to see like a table view, you could do that. Or if someone wants to do like a quick overview chart and wants to understand the benchmarking, they can go ahead and click on metric overview, and you get like a proper average mark. You get to know where Briarport stands, which cities are doing better, which cities are not. So this is the structure that I wanted to follow. And I decided to take part, I think, when there was just 1 day left. So all I did was chose this particular format, and all the other metrics that you can navigate, I mean, the emissions index, the green space percentage, it's going to follow the same layout. Only the values are going to change according to the metrics. the reason that I do is I strongly believe that the end user should not have like a major learning curve. Every time they switch between different pages, they should not wonder or get overwhelmed or saying, oh my God, what should I look at? Now, when you have something consistent, they just have to put efforts on the first page and then it's very easy for them to navigate. So that's pretty much the idea behind my report.
It's so good that you mentioned this effort that people have to take or not have to take, because your report is very predictable. You know what you can expect. You don't have to think and search anymore. You know what you will find in there. It makes it so intuitive and user-friendly. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Really incredible. And a few things that you said echo things that other finalists have said as well. And it's so clear to me that each one of you designed specifically for the audience in mind. And that is just like the pinnacle skill of being a report designer. I mean, I think this is beautiful, as they all are. And it is so important that that's how you approach the design. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your report. Thank you all for sharing your reports. This is just amazing. I love all these reports. So for everyone that may have missed where you can get to the reports, this is the link. You can also scan the QR code because you should have a look and you should click around, because there's so much to see and discover. We could spend like a whole day talking about these reports.
Yes. And these reports, they were limited to only 5 pages. And I think that is a big takeaway for me as a report designer. Sometimes, people will ask for all sorts of different views and different things that they want. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this report has 12 pages. Uh-oh. But I've learned so much from how to edit and put things together in a way that makes sense for the users. I've learned so much from each of you already. This is so great. And so speaking of it being so great, I'd love for us to just take a moment, use the emojis in the YouTube or drop a comment, and let's just show all of these finalists some love. That was 50 minutes of just so much knowledge and inspiration and things that honestly, some of those I've never seen before in Power BI. So let's show our finalists some love. Please do drop comments on their reports in the gallery. They get a notification every time someone comments, so they'll be able to see you cheering them on. And then please also give them a shout out on LinkedIn. We want to make sure that our 4 finalists feel super supported going into FabCon. And speaking of going into FabCon, I've seen a lot in the chat about many of you who are on the line, those of you who have joined live. Many of you will also be at the finale at FabCon in Atlanta. So please do join us on March 18th. If you are not able to join, send the finalists some love. Let them know that you're supporting them. If you are joining us, we will see you at 4:25 in the Thomas Murphy Ballroom on the 18th. And then last but not least, we love running contests. This is something that over the past year, we have really tried to work hard at, and you all have shown up. We've been just so blown away. So please stay tuned to the contest page for future contests. After FabCon, we will take a break for probably, I don't know, a week or 2, and then you'll see more contests coming down the line. So please stay tuned to the contests page. We have just about 2 minutes left. Valerie, any closing words, anything you'd like to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, well, I think talking about these contests, so everyone that got inspired now, once they're back, make sure to submit. Really, even if you think I'm maybe not at that stage where these finalists are at the moment, try it and just try to participate, because this will help you so much to learn. And it's such a great way to learn from each other. I'm amazed by all these people that submitted their reports.
Yes, thank you. All righty, and let's see if we can get all the finalists back on. We'll do one final goodbye, and a huge thank you to everyone who has joined on the line. This has been such a fun chat. We're so happy that you all have been here. Thanks to everyone who put hours and hours and hours into preparing your reports. We appreciate you, and we'll see you all in Atlanta.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yeah.
for joining.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining our session today. Thank you to our hosts, Shannon and Valerie. Thank you to all the finalists we met today. And congratulations to you all for your reports. Now, to close it up, here at the Reactor, we are always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. So if you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find the link to the survey and the chat are on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.